In a world that constantly urges us to share, to post, to tell all, there is a quiet wisdom in holding some things close. Vulnerability is powerful, yes, but it requires boundaries to thrive. Today, let's explore 5 things you should never share, not out of fear, but out of self-respect and wisdom. In a world that celebrates openness and authenticity, it's easy to feel pressured into sharing every part of ourselves with anyone who will listen. We're told that vulnerability is power, and it is, but only when shared wisely. Our deepest insecurities are not flaws to fix, but tender parts of ourselves that deserve to be protected until trust is earned. To open up about these raw places too soon is like handing a delicate flower to a storm and hoping it survive. There's a difference between being honest and being exposed. When we share our insecurities with people who haven't proven their loyalty, we risk allowing them to define us by our fears instead of our strengths. It's not about pretending to have it all together. It's about understanding that not everyone has the capacity or the character to hold our stories with care. The truth is, some people listen to respond, not to understand. They gather our weaknesses as weapons for later, or dismiss our pain with shallow comfort. Choosing wisely whom to trust with our insecurities is an act of self-respect. It means watching how someone handles small truths before entrusting them with bigger ones. Do they listen without interrupting? Do they guard what you share? Or do they leak it to others under the guise of concern? Trust is not built by grand gestures, but by a consistent pattern of care. Let your insecurities be invitations to deeper relationships, not auditions for acceptance. And let's not forget, beloved, that we ourselves must earn the right to speak into others' vulnerabilities as well. Being a safe place for someone else means resisting the urge to fix, to judge, or to share their secrets as conversation starters. When we honor the trust others place in us, we become trustworthy ourselves. Relationships thrive not because we share everything, but because we share the right things at the right time with the right people. There is also a sacredness in silence. Keeping certain insecurities close to your heart gives you the space to work through them without external opinions muddying the waters. It's in these quiet moments with ourselves that we can examine our fears for what they truly are. Wounds that need healing, not flaws that need hiding. When we rush to share before we understand them ourselves, we risk accepting others' interpretations of our pain instead of our own. So, beloved, guard your heart with wisdom. Share your deepest insecurities with those who have proven their loyalty, those who love you not in spite of your weaknesses, but because of them. Remember, vulnerability is not the absence of boundaries. It is the courage to have them. Protect your heart not out of fear, but out of reverence for all that you are and all that you are becoming. There is a common belief that sharing our pain makes it lighter, that speaking about our wounds is the first step to healing. While there is truth in this, it's also true that some pain needs time before it sees the light of day. Unhealed wounds, when shared too soon, can bleed onto others and leave us feeling more exposed than understood. Healing is a sacred process, and rushing it by revealing our pain prematurely can do more harm than good. We must learn to discern when to open up and when to let the wound close a little first. The danger of sharing unhealed wounds lies in the risk of being misunderstood. When pain is fresh, our words often come out raw and tangled, lacking the clarity that comes with time and reflection. In these moments, we may speak not to connect, but to relieve the ache, hoping that someone else can make sense of what we cannot. But beloved, not everyone has the capacity to hold that kind of pain, and not everyone will respond with the gentleness we need. When our hurt is met with dismissal, judgment, or even well-intentioned advice, it can deepen the wound instead of soothing it. Unhealed wounds also have a way of distorting our perspective. Pain can cloud our judgment, making it hard to see people or situations clearly. When we share from that place, we risk drawing others into a version of the story that might shift as we heal. This can create confusion and even conflict. especially if the people we confide in form opinions based on a temporary perspective. Giving ourselves time allows us to sift through the emotions, separate truth from trauma, and tell our story in a way that honors both our pain and our growth. There's also a profound strength in allowing ourselves to heal in private. Choosing not to share right away doesn't mean we're hiding, it means we're respecting the process. Like a broken bone that needs to set before it can bear weight again, our hearts need time to mend before they can safely carry the weight of other people's responses. Silence can be a form of self-compassion, a way to hold space for ourselves without the pressure of performing our pain for others. In that quiet, we can grieve, process, and begin to make peace with what happened. When the time does come to share, we do so from a place of power, not brokenness. A healed wound tells a different story than a fresh one. It speaks of survival, of lessons learned, of the strength it took to endure. When we share our scars instead of our open wounds, we invite others into the wisdom of our experience rather than the chaos of our emotions. This kind of vulnerability builds bridges instead of walls, offering hope instead of merely seeking comfort. So, beloved, honor your unhealed wounds by giving them the gift of time. Resist the urge to prove your pain or to seek validation too soon. Find safe spaces within yourself with trusted souls and in moments of quiet reflection to let the healing begin. Remember, some pain is not meant to be shared right away, not because it isn't valid, but because it deserves the dignity of healing first. Protect your heart, trust the process, and believe that in time, your story will be a lifeline for someone else. There is something sacred about a dream in its early stages, fragile, unformed, yet full of possibility. Our future goals are like seeds planted in the dark, needing time and care to grow strong enough to face the elements. Too often, though, we rush to share these tender visions with others, seeking validation or excitement. But not everyone will see what you see, and premature criticism can wither a dream before it even has a chance to bloom. Protecting your vision isn't about secrecy. It's about giving your dreams the dignity of unfolding at their own pace. One of the greatest dangers of sharing too soon is the weight of unqualified opinions. When your goals are fresh, even a single doubtful comment can plant seeds of fear that take root. Not everyone has the courage to pursue their own dreams, and some people, intentionally or not, will reflect their own limitations onto yours. They might question the practicality of your plans or highlight risks you haven't even considered. And if we're not careful, we can mistake their fear for wisdom and start to doubt our own path. Beloved, wisdom listens, but it also discerns. Not every opinion deserves a place in the soil where your dreams are trying to grow. There is also the reality that some dreams are simply too precious to share with those who haven't earned the right to hear them. It's easy to forget that not everyone is rooting for us. Some will cheer for our ambition as long as it doesn't outgrow their own. This is why it's so important to be selective about who you allow into that sacred space of your future goals. Share with those who celebrate your victories without jealousy, who listen without judgment, and who offer advice without an agenda. These are the people who water your dreams instead of trampling them. Protecting your vision is also about guarding your energy. Every time we share our dreams, we expend emotional energy explaining, defending, or justifying them. This can leave us feeling depleted before we've even begun to take action. Dreams require focus and fuel, and if we spend too much time gathering approval, we'll have little left for the work itself. Silence in this way becomes a form of power. It allows us to build in secret, to lay brick by brick without the distraction of outside voices. When the time comes to share, we do so from a place of progress, not just promise. There is also wisdom in allowing your goals to evolve in private. When we speak too soon, we risk boxing ourselves into a version of the dream that might not fit as we grow. Silence gives us permission to adjust, to shift direction, and to pursue different paths without the pressure of public accountability. It allows us to test our vision, to make mistakes without an audience, and to learn without the weight of explaining every move. The truth is, dreams often need room to breathe before they can take root. So, beloved, protect your vision with fierce tenderness. Share it sparingly and only with those who have proven their loyalty. Let the world see the fruits of your labor, not just the seeds. Move quietly, build steadily, and trust that what's meant for you will not pass you by. Your dreams deserve the chance to grow strong enough to withstand the storms, and when they do, the world will marvel not just at what you've built, but at the wisdom it took to guard it until it was ready. There is a particular vulnerability that comes with financial struggles. Money is more than numbers. It's tied to our sense of security, worth, and even identity. Admitting we're struggling financially can feel like peeling back layers of pride and exposing fears we'd rather keep hidden. But as with all vulnerabilities, sharing this part of ourselves requires wisdom. Not everyone will respond with compassion, and not every listening ear is a safe one. To choose wisely whom to trust with your financial struggles is to honor both your dignity and your journey. One of the greatest dangers of sharing financial struggles too freely is the risk of judgment. Money is a topic that stirs strong opinions, and well-meaning people can offer harsh critiques disguised as advice. They might question your choices, your priorities, or even your character. These reactions can leave you feeling more ashamed and isolated than before you spoke up. Beloved, remember that your worth is not tied to your wealth. Being selective about whom you confide in is not about hiding your struggles, but about preserving your self-respect. There is also the reality that financial struggles can shift the dynamics of relationships. When people know too much about your situation, it can invite unsolicited advice, pity, or even a sense of superiority. Some may offer help not out of kindness, but as a way to feel better about themselves. Others might use your vulnerability as a topic for gossip, turning your private pain into public chatter. Protecting your financial story is a way of maintaining control over how others see you and how you see yourself. Choose to share with those who listen without judgment and who value your trust over the details of your balance sheet. Confiding in the wrong person can also lead to misguided solutions that add to your burden rather than easing it. Financial advice is deeply personal, and what worked for someone else might not work for you. When you open up to someone who lacks both understanding and expertise, you risk being pulled into choices that aren't right for you. Wisdom means seeking counsel from those who have both the experience to guide you and the heart to do so without judgment. Whether it's a financial advisor or a trusted friend who's walked a similar path, choose voices that empower rather than overwhelm. There is also power in privacy. Keeping your financial struggles to yourself or to a trusted few allows you to process your emotions without external pressures. Financial difficulties can stir shame, anxiety, and even resentment, and working through these feelings in private gives you the space to think clearly and act decisively. It prevents you from making choices out of panic or from feeling the need to prove something to others. Privacy is not denial, it's a way to gather strength until you're ready to move forward. So, beloved, guard your financial story with wisdom. Share it sparingly and only with those who have earned the right to hear it. Your struggles do not define you, and neither does the silence you keep while finding your way through them. Trust that in due time, your story will shift from one of survival to one of triumph. Until then, move quietly, build steadily, and remember that your worth was never tied to your wealth. There is a delicate balance between seeking support and protecting the integrity of our relationships. When conflicts arise with the people we love, whether it's a spouse, a parent, a sibling, or a close friend, the temptation to vent is strong. We want someone to validate our pain, to tell us we're right and that our feelings are justified. But beloved, not every conflict is meant to be public. Discretion is a form of love, a way to honor both the person you're struggling with and the relationship you're trying to preserve. One of the greatest risks of sharing personal conflicts too freely is that people rarely forget what we tell them. We might move past an argument, forgive, and rebuild, but the friends or family we vented to might not be so quick to let go. They only heard one side of the story, our side, raw and unfiltered, and they often hold on to that version of the person we love. This can create lasting rifts and awkwardness, making it difficult for our loved ones to repair relationships that we've unknowingly damaged on their behalf. Choosing discretion is about protecting the chance for reconciliation before outside opinions harden into judgments. Discretion is also an act of humility. When we rush to share every conflict, we often do so with a version of the story that paints us as the victim and the other person as the villain. But the truth is, most conflicts are layered and complex, with fault rarely lying on one side alone. Keeping certain struggles private gives us the space to reflect honestly on our own part in the situation. It allows us to sit with uncomfortable truths, to question our assumptions, and to seek resolution instead of rallying allies. Silence in this way can be a mirror revealing not just what was done to us, but what we might need to learn. There is also the reality that not everyone who listens has your relationship's best interests at heart. Some people, even those who seem well-meaning, thrive on drama and division. They might offer sympathy on the surface while subtly fueling the flames of conflict underneath. Venting to the wrong person can escalate a misunderstanding into a battle, turning a moment of frustration into a story of betrayal. Wisdom means knowing the difference between those who offer counsel and those who offer gossip. Choose confidants who encourage resolution, not revenge. Those who ask, "How can you fix this?" instead of, "How could they do that to you?" Choosing discretion doesn't mean bottling up your emotions or pretending everything is fine. It means being intentional about whom you confide in and how you process your pain. There is profound power in speaking directly to the person you're in conflict with, in having hard conversations with honesty and grace instead of through third parties. It's in these moments of raw, face-to-face truth that healing begins. And if you do need to seek outside perspective, let it be from someone you trust to hold both your heart and your secrets with care, a therapist, a mentor, or a friend who has proven their loyalty over time. So, beloved, guard your relationships by guarding your words. Let your silence be a sign not of avoidance, but of reverence for the bonds you hold dear. Share sparingly, forgive quickly, and fight for resolution instead of validation. Remember, the goal is not to win the argument, but to preserve the relationship. In the end, it's not about having the last word, but about building a love that lasts.